What's up, sports bettors? I have a two-pick entry on PrizePicks. It's really profitable. We got soccer, we got baseball in it, so I hope you tail it. I hope you like it. But as a recap, we can kind of explain how PrizePicks works and why it's such an interesting DFS platform and pretty easy to make money off of. So the reason is because PrizePicks, they don't vary your payouts depending on the two picks you select. You'll notice any two picks we select is 20 to win 60. So that's a little misleading because it's 20 to win 40 in profit plus your $20 stake back. So 20 to win 40 in profit is just plus 200 odds, right? Doesn't matter if you take the overs, the unders, whatever. You're always getting 20 to win 60. So PrizePicks is essentially a fixed parlay platform. Any two-pick parlay, you're going to be getting the implied price of minus 137 on both legs, because you can see with a parlay calculator, this is just a parlay calculator on OddsJam. If you ever have a parlay on a sportsbook where you're getting minus 137 odds on both legs, your parlay will come out to plus 200. So PrizePicks is essentially just giving us every two-pick entry at plus 200, so every two-leg parlay at plus 200. So every leg, every player prop on PrizePicks, whether it's the over, the under, it doesn't even matter what pick you're selecting, is just plus 200 implied odds. So we've gone through this math before. There will be a video in the end screen, but essentially what this means is PrizePicks is giving you the implied price of minus 137 on any two-pick entry, and you need to be winning your props 57.74% of the time to break even. So again, to kind of explain how PrizePicks is different than sportsbooks, we can take a look at an example of one of the bets I'm on for today. So this bet is just from the OddsJam positive EV betting tool, which just shows you, data-driven DFS picks and profitable sports bets, right? It literally just scans the market. It scans PrizePicks to show you the best player props that are actually data-driven and mathematical. So for example, if we take a look right here, we can see Kyle Gibson over 4.5 strikeouts. We're getting the implied price of minus 137 on PrizePicks, but all of the sports books have this heavily juiced, right? Heavily juiced, like minus 186, minus 173, and then minus 171 on Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker in the world. So all the sports books have this heavily juiced, which means the over, according to the sports books, right, is much more likely to hit. So this is a line discrepancy. And typically when Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker out there, is pricing a prop at minus 171 and you can get it in your PrizePicks entry, that's a good indication that that is a player prop you want to be on PrizePicks, right? So as an example, Kyle Gibson over 4.5 strikeouts, heavily juiced again, this is kind of the difference between PrizePicks and the sports books, right? If we created a two-pick entry, with Kyle Gibson 5+ strikeouts and let's say Jameson over 4.5, we'd only be getting plus 162, right? Because FanDuel has the over heavily juiced, minus 142. You'd only be getting plus 162 odds. On PrizePicks, you'd be getting plus 200. Whereas if we switch this to the under, you're getting plus 225. Right? So sportsbooks imply win probabilities and how likely they think a bet is to occur through their odds. So you're, able on PrizePicks to spot these line discrepancies because they're not varying payouts depending on A, the picks you're selecting, and B, if you're picking the over or the under, which is shocking, right? Because the over and under aren't both 50% to hit. They're not equally likely to hit. So it does make sense that sportsbooks, juice more towards the over and more towards the under. But anyways, because we're getting the implied price of minus 137 on PrizePicks, OddsJam, just scans the market and the software tells us, hey, there's a big line discrepancy on Kyle Gibson, right? You should take the over, right? It's circled and it's in bold, right? This is the bet we want to be on PrizePicks and our PrizePicks entry. So I ended up using this in my PrizePicks entry. The profit margin is 1.87%. We kind of have a video, again, more taking you through PrizePicks payouts, the math behind PrizePicks, but this is the first player prop I went with in my entry. But if you do want to learn more about the math, there will be a video in the end screen. So, again, when sportsbooks are heavily juicing an over, the over is a lot more likely to hit than the under is, and we're getting the implied price of minus 137 on PrizePicks, depending on if we pick the over or the under, so we want to hammer the over. right? And we can kind of quantify that mathematically. So the market on Pinnacle is minus 171, plus 127. So if you go to a no vig fair odds calculator, as it's called, what this calculator essentially does is it takes a sportsbook's market and removes the vig, right? It removes the juice that sportsbooks charge to tell you the true price and the win probability that the sportsbook is implying, right? So we can see for Gibson over 4.5 strikeouts, Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker, based on them having, the odds at minus 171 on the over and plus 127 on the under, that this bet is 58.89% to occur, which is higher than that break-even win probability you need to beat on PrizePicks to be profitable, right? If you're winning your props on PrizePicks 60% of the time, you're going to be super profitable. If you're winning your props on PrizePicks 53% of the time, you're going to be super unprofitable. So the best strategy is to ruthlessly compare PrizePicks to the sportsbooks and look for these massive line discrepancies where the sportsbooks have the over heavily juiced, because this very clearly means that they think the over is much more likely to hit, right? So this is the first prop I have. And again, if this is a little confusing to you, another way to think about it is you can imagine if a sportsbook was giving you, minus 110 odds on both the over and the under. Either the over has to hit or the under has to hit. Over 4.5 or under 4.5, right? So if they're giving you the same odds for the over and the under, then the sportsbook, because they're giving you the same payout, the same price for the over and the under, the sportsbook believes both are 50% to occur. They're equally likely, and one of them has to happen, so 50-50. Right? Whereas if a sportsbook has a fighter, a crazy heavy favorite in the UFC, minus 1,000, and the opponent's plus 800, then the sportsbook, thinks that the favorite fighter is 89% to win. Sportsbooks imply win probabilities through their odds. So all you have to do is remove the juice from that sportsbook's market to get the true win probability, which you can do with a no vig calculator or a true odds calculator, whatever you want to call it. So that's the first player prop I have, right? We want to go with Kyle Gibson over 4.5. Now, I will say, if you want to follow along with our plays, I do recommend joining the OddsJam Discord. We give out some free picks, stuff like that. There's some, sports betting strategies. There's also a premium channel for DFS, as well as sports betting. So if you want all of my PrizePicks picks, you can join this. If you want all of Matt's sports bets, you can join that one. But regardless, we give out some free picks, stuff like that. And then there's some talk about sports betting strategies. So feel free to join that as well. I think we're up. If we go here, how much are we up? On PrizePicks, we're up $920. Been doing this for like a week. So hopefully we can, keep it going and keep getting out more plays. But regardless, my second pick, which I really like, so this is actually a soccer play, is Stina Blackstenius under half of a goal. So I'm fading her to score a goal. I think this is an incredible bet. I think you should be all over it. So I recommend also including this in your PrizePicks entry if it's still available. So obviously a bit random. You may not be watching Sweden versus Belgium, but in the odds, this is ridiculous value. So I recommend hitting it. Let's make money.